Okay, so let's talk about this. The commenters wondering what he meant by this conversation. And essentially, we get Conrad and Jeremiah talking on the steps. They talk about Susanna. And Jeremiah says, by the way, congratulations on your big win today. I know how much you love to win. Which Conrad responds, it's not about winning for me, it's about doing things the right way. The reason why this conversation is so important and it stands out to a lot of people is it foreshadows the whole cheating plot and how Jeremiah treats Belly in book 3. We already know from the outside perspective that Jeremiah's character seems to think Belly is competition. She is a prize. She is how he beats Conrad. It's the one way Conrad can lose in his mind. So that's the wrong way to do it. So again, this is just a foreshadowing moment, and Jenny giving us another clue into how we'll see things play out in season 3. Again, she's the queen of Easter eggs, parallels, foreshadowing. The woman is a genius. All hail Queen Jetty. Alright, my sweet friends, we're diving into something. I bit my tongue on this for a while, but I'm gonna go for it. I know I'll get the bad comments, but it's okay. We're gonna dive into the signs of a superficial relationship. Not because I want to bash Team Jeremiah, not because I think he's a bad person, because I want to prove a point of where these teenagers are and why it's not sustainable. Why do people get into superficial relationships? Let's start there. They're afraid of getting hurt. We see this with Belly. She's very afraid of getting hurt after being hurt once before by Conrad. And this is when you don't allow yourself to get close to someone, it's impossible to get hurt by them, right? You may believe that you're keeping your connection on a superficial level will help you avoid the pain of rejection or abandonment. This defense mechanism often stems from a bad experience or a deep-seated fear of abandonment. Number 2, they don't think they are good enough. Low self-esteem can cause people to doubt their own worthiness of love and happiness. We see this in Belly. She has extremely low self-esteem after what happened with Conrad. They're afraid of commitment. I don't personally think that she's afraid of commitment. I don't think Jeremiah's afraid of commitment. I don't think Conrad's afraid of commitment. I think this is one of those things that this just doesn't apply to them. They're narcissists. Narcissistic people are more likely to have a simplistic relationship because they are only interested in people who will reflect their own positive image. They want to be seen as perfect and flawless and thus only associate with those who will help them maintain that persona. They're trying to impress others. People pleasers often find themselves in a shallow relationship because their need to be liked and acceptance by others outweighs their need for intimacy. They may be more worried about pleasing their partners and the people around them than about developing a real meaningful connection. This right here, people pleasers. Belly is a people pleaser. She 100% wants to make every single person happy, which is why every time Jeremiah gets mad at her, she apologizes, even though she's not in the wrong. We saw this happen in the fight scene in the Jeep when they got the flat tire. Things that she should not have had to apologize for, she still apologized for. Now, 17 signs of superficial relationships you need to know. Go to part 2.
I've loved you since I was 10 years old. You're the only boy I've ever thought about. My whole life, it's always been you. You taught me how to dance. You came out and got me the time I swam out too far. Do you remember that?
So that edit popped up on my For You page, and then I started thinking about this love confession from Belly and how we never got this in season 1. And it's a beautiful love confession, and I'm kind of mad that we didn't get it in season 1, But then this started getting my wheels turning. Could Jenny be saving this for season 3 finale? Hear me out. Because, yes, we know that season 3 is going to build up to Conrad finally opening up and giving his true feelings, and Conrad telling Belly that he loves her still, always have, always will. But at the same time, Conrad hasn't gotten that from Belly either. I just feel like after everything, how the book goes, they do go their own ways for a few years. I can see Jenny pulling that out after she finally reconnects with Conrad again at the end of the book. And she confessed to him all this, because this sounds like it would be the perfect moment for her to say it. I mean, Conrad is going through hell right now, and he's going to be through next season. If we get book 3, Conrad's going to build up the whole season to finally confess his love for her, clearly. And then the wedding gets canceled or called off. They don't see each other for another 2 years, 3 years, I think it is. So could at that point Jenny pull this love confession out? I feel like we could see this at the end, at the very, very end of season 3, after she finally comes back from Spain, whatever the case may be, upon her finally realizing that she wants to really be with Conrad, that she gives him this confession. I can totally see it, and I think now I want this. I don't know if we're gonna get it, but I just love this confession, and it's, other than the saltines part, they can edit it around, and this could be like the final love confession that brings them together at the end of season 3. What do you guys think?
I can't stop thinking about this flashback scene for a few reasons. We've learned from this season so far that the flashbacks play a really crucial role in understanding the whole story. And something that really stood out to me from this flashback scene was the conversation between Jeremiah and Susanna. We see that Belly is sick at home and kind of feeling down, and so Susanna asks Jeremiah to spend the day with her and keep her company. Kind of reluctantly agrees, and Susanna responds by saying, "That's my sunshine boy." And that got me thinking about how Susanna projects the personality traits that she wants her sons to have directly onto them. So then, of course, I had to go back through other episodes and see where else we've seen this be true. In the first episode, Belly and Susanna have a sweet moment together where Susanna tells Belly that she's beautiful and that she's in bloom. And Belly says that Susanna has a way of saying things that almost makes me believe her, which I think is a great way to explain how her character really has that effect on everybody that she has a relationship with. Weirdly, in this show, Susanna doesn't have that many scenes with her sons one-on-one, but I think this scene was really interesting where she's asking Conrad if he will take Belly to the ball. Susanna tries to convince Conrad to go by telling Conrad some things that she thinks are true about Conrad. With this interaction, I feel like you can tell that it's kind of like it's Susanna's way or the highway, and I feel like this is the case even when she's just telling you things about yourself too. Like what she says is the truth. And she validates you by saying things like, "That's my Connie," to make you believe what she says is what you actually think, or "That's my sunshine boy." And I think this just really helps us understand why these boys have the stereotypes that they do. In the book, Belly says that Jeremiah is Susanna's angel. Everyone thinks he doesn't take things too seriously. He's happy-go-lucky. He's always fun to be around. He's the life of the party. Whereas Conrad is the more serious one. He's really responsible. He's the one that gets everything done. I love how we see these situations play out in the show. Like when Belly was making the bed and Conrad knew exactly how to do it perfectly, right down to the angles. And in the new season, Jeremiah didn't even know how to put the fitted sheet on the mattress. Everybody who had a relationship with Susanna has really internalized all of the things that they've heard from her and that they believe to be true about themselves. I actually heard an interview with Jenny Han recently where she said that when she was younger, a teacher told her something about her writing, and she internalized it so much that it stuck with her throughout her life as she became a writer. And she said that when adults tell you things as children, you believe them to be the truth. And I just think it's interesting to see that most of the adults have done this sort of projecting onto the children and how that really affects them and how they act in their day-to-day lives. And also how they see themselves and what they believe to be true about themselves.